Jeff, thank you for coming on Faith Speaks Louder.
You're welcome.
Now, you are from the Christian Party.
Yes.
And we're going to delve straight into who are the Christian Party and where have you come from?
It's a long story, get comfortable.
Yeah.
The Christian Party was created, about 15 years ago now.
Okay.
Been through a few sort of changes over that period of time. We're not just, obviously we're here in Wales,
Yes.
but the Christian Party is a national party. Initially started in Scotland with the Scottish Christian Party.
Right.
And then it went so well in Scotland that they basically came down through Wales, and I happened to have a meeting in our house, which was, we live in Llandrindod, Wales, which is deemed to be the centre of Wales, if you will, and as the local tourist board say, equally inconvenient for everybody to get to. So that's a backhanded compliment if ever there was one. So they said, can we have a meeting at a place? And we said, yeah. So they had churches came together, a lot of church leaders and things, and they were in what is now our dining room, which is big. There's sort of 20 tables in there. It's about this sort of size. It's decent size. And so my lovely wife Sue and I were fetching in teas and coffees and stuff, and we were hearing the conversations of what they were talking about. This was worked really well in Scotland. We need it to happen in Wales as well. You know, where can we be? What can we do? And towards the end of that sort of meeting, they basically sort of turned around and said, well, Jeff, what do you think? Can you help us out to a certain extent?
Right.
And I was always taught that if you see a good fight, then get in it.
Yeah.
Me too. Usually, if in doubt, get in and start swinging. So I said, fair play, let's see how we go. And I'm happy to help out. So that's basically how it started within Wales, and then it sort of is morphed on to England as well. It's not so much in England at the moment. Scotland and Wales is where we're strongest.
Right.
And then, we started to go through and stand people for local council and that type of thing, which is the amazing thing. We've found it's for people to engage at that level is absolutely vital, because it's their local community, it's where they live, it's the people they know and love, and it's situations that they can deal with and see. Yeah. And it's basically free training. You think about it, it's absolutely amazing, because as soon as you raise your head above the parapet, you're going to start suffering the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and the press and the media and everything else. And it's much better to learn those lessons at a lower level, if you will, than suddenly ringing up and you've got, I don't know, the Guardian newspaper ringing you up and you're going, yeah, thanks very much.
Yes, it's
true. One of those instant prayer things. How are we going to deal with this, you know? So, that's what we started with. We started getting town councillors, parish councillors and stuff in North, South and Mid Wales, where I am. And was elected a couple of times myself as a town council in Llandrindod. I was voted in as mayor twice, which was pretty cool. Wow. So
you're well versed in this community politics.
Yeah, that's really been our bread and butter, and that's really where we've sort of thrived, if you will. We've made attempts at county council and that type of things, but then you start realising the nastier side of politics, the dirtier side.
Oh, yes.
Because there's money involved.
Yeah.
And as soon as you come up to a paid-for position, the major political parties, they don't play nice in any way, shape or form. They really don't. No. And again, it's for those of us that enjoy a decent row and are willing to stand up and go on then. We love that. That's fun. Other people, they tend to shy away from it a little bit or whatever, but it's one of those, it's the reality of life. Yeah. As soon as you include money into a situation, the big boys want to come and play because it's their input. That's true. Obviously I'm represented by Powys County Council. Yeah. God love them. They need your prayers if anyone's out there.
Yes.
Desperately. And that's sort of where, and even on other places around the country as well, that's where we sort of levelled out so far. Sure. But we've stood for assembly elections and everything else as well as Westminster and things.
So are you standing for the Senate elections in May?
We were just talking about it on the way down, actually, to be fair, but they've rejigged everything.
Yes.
Is it Brenniog now? It's huge. As a sort of a ward, if you will, it's absolutely massive.
It doesn't make any sense to me what they've done. I don't get it.
I was looking at it on the map going, well, that's about an hour north of us in Llandrindod, so it's going up nearly to Newtown. Yeah. And all the way down to East Swansea.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And I'm going, the demographics alone are a nightmare. Travelling, being a representative within that community, but it's not a community.
No, it's
Is
not.
it? It's not a community.
They're so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
Yeah.
now this was a lesson originally. As you tell, I am not Welsh.
Yeah.
I'm not Welsh, but I got here as fast as I could.
Yeah. As fast as I could.
It took me a few years, but I had to. We got here. We've been here 23 years now.
Oh, you're Welsh then?
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. The Six Nations is on, so we're praying. Oh dear Lord, we face Ireland today.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
It becomes very tribalism.
It does.
Yeah,
But
it does.
isn't that the funny thing about Wales?
Yes.
We live in Radnorshire.
Yes.
And there's Bilth is down in Breconshire, right? It's 6 miles away.
Right.
But we've met people, when we first came here 20 years ago, we met people in Landor that wouldn't talk to businesses that were in Bilth because they're from off. They're from over there.
Right.
And this, don't know if you're around it, do you have the expression from off around here?
No.
Off is a subjective distance and time and place, depending
Okay.
whether they're local or not. Yeah, I did the same thing you just said. Huh? How does this work? Brecon is at Radnor, so that's off.
Sure.
Right? But
Okay.
Prestine is on the border, but that's further away. But actually, we like the people in Prestine because they're still in Radnorshire.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to get my head around this
Yeah.
tribalism as you have
Yes.
within Wales.
Because
and
it doesn't exist in England.
it doesn't.
No.
It really doesn't.
And people don't understand this, and I get a lot of backlash for this, Jeff, because Wales is so tribal in our mindset
Yes.
that people on the outside, or even if now, because we're in Nice today, if I said to Nice people, oh, Nice people are really tribal, the Nice people would be like, no, we're not. Do you know what I mean? It's because we love arguing
Yeah.
that we're not something that we are.
No,
we
seriously,
are tribal.
it is an amazing cultural concept that you
Yeah.
really have to get your head around.
Yes.
And once you've done that, I was very fortunate, as I said, I have an Irish wife. That helped me a lot.
Yes. Good old Celt.
No, yes. We raised 3 kids in the educational system, so they're as best as you can be, bilingual and everything else. So
Yeah.
I get a lot of brownie points for that.
Well done.
I got onto the town council.
Right.
Then I started becoming people's friend.
Yeah.
Because until then I was the strange guy that lived with the nice Irish lady.
Sure.
Then I became mayor, and then I was everyone's best friend in the whole world.
Yes,
If there was
that's
a wind turbine that some farmer needed that was overlooking the town or so, I was getting visits and, I don't know, bags of apples and stuff. It's a bit strange, but God love you. God love them. You know, so, but it was like that. When they realised you were doing it for the community, you weren't sort of just show them. The worst thing you can ever do is say, oh, I'm going to show you how you should run a business.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, God forbid. We've seen businesses come and go in a year because they came with that attitude.
Yeah, totally.
We were very fortunate that we didn't come to do that.
No.
And we didn't know what we were doing, and we were the other way around saying, how do you do this?
Let's learn together.
It is, seriously, we said, who's the best? They went, they are, we'd go and see them, and they
Yeah.
helped us out, So, yeah, Wales itself, very tribal, and sort of working through those barriers is quite good fun. So you get a region that's that large, I can't see it working. It is, I don't know.
So how does that work when you're trying to get people to stand for the party?
This is the other trick, isn't it? But again, we try and get people to say, well, you have to represent where you live first.
Yeah.
That's, we go to the ground and say this to the local people, represent your local community. Because that's where we should be anyway.
Yeah.
Most Christians, I say, that's where we are.
Sure.
That's where God's put us. That's what we're going to do. Brilliant. So that's a good place to start, and then we can build on that and see where we go. But then a big election will come up. We go, well, stand anyway, just for the fun, and see where we go. You get the awareness out there. Sometimes you can get things. We had a big. Oh, this was a few years ago, 10 years ago. They wanted to put a big incinerator up in just south of Brecon, Merthyr, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
This is from memory. This might not be 100% gospel, but it's pretty close. They wanted to put up a big incinerator, and we had some guys come in, some experts that we brought in, and they said the fallout from this incinerator was going to hit Usk. And they estimated how many people it was going to kill a year. Yeah, it was huge. We're sitting there going, sorry, does the Welsh Assembly know about this?
Yeah.
Because our incinerators don't burn hot enough to actually get rid of all the contaminants, and the filters aren't there and stuff. And so this was 10 years ago, so I'm hoping it's changed. he says optimistically. But so we used our electoral campaign to make people aware that this was happening.
So you're kind of like an opposition to things that are happening that are just unjust in Wales.
The Bible says that, a small tiller steers a large ship, and sometimes we can get things put on the agenda. We were down in Southampton a few years ago. There was an election down there, and we got traditional marriage put on the actual debate table because people, 6 out of 7 of the MPs that were or would-be MPs that were standing were championing traditional marriage. Because we basically turned around and said, this is an absolute nonsense. This is, marriage is between a man and a woman.
God forbid you say that these days.
Well, we're in a very fortunate position because we're a political party. We have a manifesto that states that marriage is between a man and a woman, because we sort of robbed that from the scriptures. We plagiarise a lot from the scriptures, and again, it works. You'd be surprised. It's amazing. A lot of our business decisions are scripturally based, and guess what? They work. It's like, this is amazing. I don't pretend to be spectacularly bright about any of this, but just obedient to what we're told to do, and when you do it, it works. And I go, I am a genius. You know,
you brag about it.
As you do, So, I mean, who knows where we go to in a few years' time or whatever. We see the suppression of freedom of speech and everything else coming in, and that side of life is getting very interesting very fast.
Yes, it is.
We still have some freedom of speech within church, but how many pastors are being arrested out in the streets just for preaching the word of God and stuff?
And that we've been preaching on the streets for hundreds, thousands of years. And only now it's a problem.
Isn't that where we started? Where did Jesus go? He was out in the streets. He wasn't necessarily, he was in the synagogues and stuff sometime, but mostly out with the people.
That's
that and the other. And the day revival, where did they go? They didn't go to the synagogue, they went out in the streets. We've always been part of our raison d'etre since we were created as Christians, and begin the good news, we go to where the people are. Now, the police and everything else seem very keen to arrest people and take them away because there's been a complaint about something somewhere. And you're going, okay, this is getting interesting.
Listen, do you think it's maybe because Christianity always has been seen as a threat to power? Because it has the capabilities of capturing the community, whereas politics and all that doesn't have the same stretch. And so therefore, politics are afraid of what Christians can do.
The Christianity, I think, certainly within the UK, the Christianity is the bedrock of our society. No one would ever doubt that. You can't really dispute that.
There's some people that will.
But if you've got an ounce of brains in your head, you can't really dispute that. I mean, everything, even the things that weren't necessarily Christian, that were done on a Christian ethos, Wilberforce, abolishing slavery and everything else. The sailors that went out and destroyed the Ivory Barbary Coast, those guys, we lost 2,000 sailors doing that, got no thanks for it, thank you very much, but we cracked down on stuff because it was the right thing to do. And you go back to that was our Christian ethos as a nation. Second World War, Winston Churchill calls the nation for a day of prayer before these things happen, because we need that side of it. We are basically a Christian nation, whether society at large acknowledges it or not. It is also interesting that it's one of the main pillars of our nation. And it seemed to be undermined by the powers that be, which would be, I slightly hesitate to say the word politics or politicians, because I think it's bigger than that.
Me too,
I think if we turn around and say, well, I don't know, who do we currently have? Keir Starmer, whatever.
Imagine him calling a day of national prayer.
No, I can't. He'd have to go through a committee before he even thought about it. But even if you go back all the way through, I mean, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Tony Blair, they are the people in front, but they're not the people wielding the power. The people with power are behind them. And there seems to me, let me caveat that slightly, I'm a businessman. That's what I do. That's how I work. I analyse things. I do SWOT analysis and things. And, SWOT analysis is strength, weak, opportunities, threats. I look at why things are being done. Hopefully, if I get a jump on something, I might be able to make some money out of it or whatever. That's what I do. I analyse businesses. And then, so I'm looking at our nation and thinking, why are these fundamental foundations being undermined in such a way? and what's the reason for it? Because it doesn't make any sense from a business, but you wouldn't want to undermine yourself on energy policy, because if energy prices go up, as they are at the moment, we become economically unviable as a nation for people to invest in.
Yeah.
And that's happening all over Europe. I know that, and I'm not spectacularly bright. So therefore, the people that are spectacularly bright, they obviously know that.
Yes.
So they're doing it for a reason. You start wondering what that reason is. And if it was just one foundation, you go, all right, we've got another half a dozen, we're okay.
Yeah.
But you start undermining the family, your Christian heritage, your economic policies, you start your power sources and stuff. I was watching some guys today, they're talking about 2030. We're looking at power outages on a regular basis at 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
On a rolling program that will include all of the United Kingdom and Ireland.
It's crazy.
You know, Ireland uses our power sources. Obviously I'm married to an Irishman, so I appreciate but the irony and the love of it. I'm going, really? But again, people are sitting going, hang on, this is starting to get very serious, very real. But this is a deliberate policy by the powers that be for net zero, which is a nonsense. It doesn't work in any way, shape or form.
No.
So why are they doing it? That's what I'm trying to get.
Money,
maybe. I really, if I understood, then maybe I'd be as bad as they are. What I do appreciate is that this day is coming, and if we are forewarned, then we're forearmed.
True.
One of my favourite things to do, tool up. So if there is that opportunity, okay, then we might need to look at becoming energy-wise totally independent as a business, as a family, this, that, and the other. We've always sort of stored food and water and things like that. We always have backups to the backup because we run a guest house and we need to make sure we have, supplies in for that.
Sure.
We always have kerosene and things in a few thousand litres on top, just so if there was a problem, just in case. But I think we might have to start ramping it up because it could
this
get
is a
bad.
possibility.
Very real possibility. Seriously, a very, very real possibility.
Do you think it's a possibility, obviously, if parties such as Plaid Labour, who are pushing the net zero agenda, if they get in, then this is on the cards for us?
Well, you've only got to look what Ed Miliband's doing at the moment, and it's borderline insanity. It really is. There is.
Yeah.
I try and see both sides of an argument because I was always taught that before you argue with somebody, take their position, see where they're coming from, in case they've got some good points.
Yes, exactly.
And if they've got a good point, then you can agree on those and then just agree over the little bits on the side. But on the net zero thing, I'm sitting there going, it makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It is lunacy. Yeah. They go, well, Paul Talbot, we lost the steel mill.
Yeah.
And okay, for the environment. Yeah, but they tore it down, they shipped it to India and they're rebuilding it. So it's actually worse for the environment because they had to ship it. So I'm going, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, then there has to be an agenda.
Right.
There has to be.
Yeah.
Because if I can see it, you could see it, and it's obviously stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would we take away our only ability to make virgin steel?
It's craziness.
It is.
And it's impacted our community, I think,
course
more
it
than
has.
any. Because of Talbot Steel Works.
It's there.
2,000 jobs done overnight.
Bang. And the surrounding infrastructure that supported the 2,000 jobs.
Absolutely.
The ripple effect goes on for generations.
But we know specific families that have been impacted by it, and it's been devastating. Because you're talking about men that have worked in the studios for years, came out of school without any GCSEs, but they were employed by the and they've worked their way up in the steelworks.
Yep.
What can they do? They haven't got any qualifications.
No.
Other than experience in the steelworks.
It's crazy.
It's just horrible.
And they're not going to go to India.
No.
Off
we go, pack up, off we go.
Here we go.
It's craziness.
But that's the world we're currently living in, and that's why it's really interesting.
Yes.
And I'm looking for the reasons, and I can't find anything apart from people looking to literally undermine us as a nation.
Sure, right.
Obviously, we talk about the influx of immigrants, illegal, otherwise, and everything else that's coming in to Europe as a whole, let alone just the United Kingdom, and the funding for all that.
Yeah.
Again, I look at the economics. We're running out of money and quick.
Yes.
So I'm going, okay. Now, for ourselves, we might be okay, but my 3 kids, that my youngest is 17, he's just about to go off to university and things.
Yeah.
This is going to impact them.
Yeah.
And, okay, where they're going to go. Now, they are both my sons are talking about the hypothetical opportunity of emigrating.
Yeah.
Our daughter, not so much, but she's still in university at the moment, so she's got another year to go up in Lancaster. But yeah, the real opportunity of turning around saying, this isn't working anymore, or if we are going to stay, they're going to tax us so much for us to have the right and the joy of living here.
Sure.
It's just not worth the bother.
No, and I suppose you see that more in Mid Wales than anything, because it's such a farming community.
Yeah.
The inheritance tax was going to annihilate that whole community in one go.
I had a very good friend of mine, a boxer friend of mine, and he's a farmer. And he and his family are the same as virtually every other farming family in and around us, are subdividing their farms up into parcels of land for the kids and stuff before this sort of bomb hits.
Yeah.
And they turn around, and it's causing rifts within families.
I bet.
Because they turn around and say, well, I want these fields over there, or I need that.
I want this one, yeah.
He said, the challenge you've got is that the farmhouse is usually here, and it's surrounded by fields, which is great. And the fields you can split up fairly easy, but the house is in the middle usually. Or, how do you split that up? It's causing rifts within families. Farms are becoming smaller, which is what the government wanted to do anyway. And again, if people are self-sufficient, they can't be controlled. If you can't control the food that people eat, again, you go to the food that people eat. We get our lamb and a mutton from a farm, and we can see the lambs and the mutton. That one over there, please, thank you very much. We get free-range eggs. We know literally the place we used to get them from. We knew the chickens that laid the eggs that we served to our guests, and we knew which hedgerow they laid their eggs in. So it was as free-range as you could get. And my wife Sue's an excellent cook, which is fantastic. So pre-bought stuff, our kids don't really know that. Everything we do is literally handmade from these things called ingredients. It's an amazing
it is
thing.
Phenomenal.
Speak to your nana about it. Your nana knew about ingredients, you know. But where we are, especially up in Radnor and stuff, we've got access to as fresh food as you could possibly imagine, not contaminated, not injected, not nothing. And we are very blessed in that. We've got some of the cleanest air around as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't move to Radnor. It's busy enough as it is. Everyone moving up there.
Stay away.
We've got some of the cleanest, freshest air outside of the Scottish Highlands.
Oh, we've got the worst.
I know you do.
Because it's industrialised.
It is.
It's terrible,
and you've got the incinerators and everything else. And it's just absolutely crazy.
And it's getting worse. Because the real problems are not being addressed. And so we go in, the system is trying to put things on us that are not important and not addressing real issues. And I find this across the board with politics at the minute. Let's distract everybody over here.
This is something fuzzy and fluffy over here. The problems are here, and this will kill you. But look at the sparkly thing over here. And if we can blame these people. Let's go and blame. Sorry, but this is what's actually this. You might not like that, but this will kill you.
Yes.
This will decimate your future.
Right.
This is the problem. Yeah, but don't look at that. We're dealing with that. Honest, trust us.
I even had a conversation. I'm not going to say from what party they were from, but they are standing for Senate. And I had the conversation with them, but I wanted to know about the waiting times in the NHS. What were they going to do about the waiting times? And this is what they said to me. They said, it is on our agenda, but we are really passionate about raising the pride flag, and we want to see the pride. And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? Because, my gosh, because they don't want to acknowledge that there's a fundamental problem in our communities that's affecting everybody. But let's talk about the things that's not affecting everybody.
1% of the population is nonsense.
Exactly.
People are dying.
Exactly.
This has always been a big thing for this. I said I was on the council 10 years. I was the mayor twice and stuff. As you could probably tell from my fantastic accent, I do not speak Welsh. Right? I have never tried. I struggle with English. But as you can tell from
my fantastic accent, I also don't speak Welsh.
But you sound wonderful. I sound like I'm chewing gravel. So, but I had people come and ask me, said, are you going to learn to speak Welsh? I went, I'll promise you this. I'll learn to speak Welsh once the town is fixed.
Sure.
Let me fix the town.
Yes.
Let me get to that point, and when there's nothing else to do and people are doing okay, then I'll have a look at it and not dying.
Yes.
Now, we live in Powys. There isn't a county hospital in Powys.
It's crazy.
Which is 25% of Wales. So where do we go? We go to Hereford.
So yours is kind of like, right, this is an emergency. These things need to be sorted a top of agenda.
Yeah, of course.
Then there's a list of not emergency things that can be done along the way.
We can deal with that later, or we get other people to deal with that. But let's stop the ship sinking first.
Right.
You know, I'm more worried about the ship sinking than what flag it's got on the back end of it as it goes down. Truthfully, I think we need to patch this hole before we hoist another flag up there that doesn't actually mean anything to anybody.
Exactly. Doesn't impact
anything. The
anything.
ship's sinking here, guys.
Right.
You know, or there's a bit of an iceberg. I think we need to get it off, you know, please.
Steer off a bit.
A little bit, you know. So we've always been of that. The nice, so we're not a huge party, never have been. We do two things.
Yeah.
One, we raise awareness, which is very cool because we get to argue about stuff. It's important, it's crucial. And as I said before, small tiller, large ship, we can steer things in certain directions. And we have had some very interesting conversations. We're not funded by anybody but ourselves.
People don't get this.
No. We answer to no one, which is amazing.
So you have no strings attached?
Nope. I am not a puppet.
I love that.
We have had offers on the table of serious amounts of money. I mean, tens of thousands. You can have this if you'll put this in your manifesto, because other parties and other influencer people want to try it on a smaller party to see how it runs. And if we get slaughtered on it, they'll pull back on it. But if it flies, they go, all right, we might add that to our manifesto. Right. And we turn around and went, sorry, I appreciate the money, but we're not taking it because we're not doing this. No. Because until we've got some guidance on that's what we're meant to be doing, have a nice day, thanks for the coffee, I'll see you later. Yeah. So that's nice for us to be able to say that. It's a little bit hard because it's just us, but then it's belt and braces and we crack on.
We don't take funding from anybody.
No. Crack on, do you, and and then you do what's right, because it's the right thing to do. Exactly. So on that aspect, that's really nice. The other nice thing is that we are a facility for people. We had a phone call from a guy from the other day. He was in England, I won't tell you where, and he turned around and said, we've had this conversation a few times. He said, last time I've been struggling with this since the last election. He said, I sat in the booth and I looked down at the paper and I couldn't vote for anybody. With clear Christian conscience, I looked at it and I went, I want to vote because I think you should vote. But I said, with all true Christian conscience, I couldn't vote for any of the parties.
It's so true.
So what he did, he spoilt his ballot paper, which is an excellent thing to do. Yeah. I think he put something like no decent candidates or something and put that in.
So do you think then that, obviously, I've felt that this election in May is the most important that Wales have seen for decades.
It's going to be a big one.
It's a real big one. It's a real game-changing one as well, because I think people really have enough of Labour. They're not voting Labour. We've done out on the streets, we've done interviews with people on the streets, and there's been very little amount of people that are going to vote for Labour. Yeah. But we found ourselves in a real difficult situation because we've applied very leftist socialism, which goes against the will of God. Yeah, give me all your stuff and I'll spend it better than you. Exactly, right. Socialism is theft. And right, get off my stuff. But the difficulty with it is that, like, Ren, he's a nice fella. He's not. To me, he looks like a kind man. He comes across very kind. But what they stand for is going to annihilate Wales. But then on the other side of it, you've got reform. Yeah. And you're just like, oh God, is this really the choices? With no track record at all. No, exactly. You don't really know what you're voting or what the outcomes of what you're voting for, the implications really are going to be. So we're in a rock and hard place. You really are, seriously. Now, we live in Radnor, as I said, so we don't have a very strong Labour contingent. Right. We don't have that. We are Lib Dems or Conservative. Yeah. Reform are coming on strong, to be fair. UKIP were for a little while, but have gone away a little bit. That's sort of where we are. And it usually bounces between the Conservatives and the Lib Dems. Sure. And so that's our sort of cross to bear. Yeah. But no, down south, it's going to be interesting. It really is, and it's going to be down here that calls it, because this is where the people are. And I think it's going to get nasty. I'm sure it will. I think this is going to be one politics. It's the nastiest, grubbiest business you can possibly be in. Oh my gosh! When I say that, it's true. You have to appreciate some of the businesses I've been in. Right. You've seen. I've been in some dark places and nasty people. Yeah. And politics is the one thing that I've said. Politics and bureaucracy. Sure. I've always stated that, by the grace of God, I can thrive and make money whatever the situation is. There's one thing I can't make money out of, that's bureaucracy. Right. We are so stifled by it
within this nation,
Yeah.
and I mean the United Kingdom as well, it's Wales as well, that it just stifles everything. And
Yeah.
you're trying to do good things. We set up a new charity last year, Welsh Bikers Suicide Prevention, because shortish story, a friend of ours, she lost her partner to suicide. I was called over there one Sunday afternoon. You ever walked into a house and it's like a cloud, but
yeah.
indoor in it? So you walk in, I went, whoa,
What's going on?
what? Okay, I said, all right, something's out. What is it?
Yeah.
Said, look, just killed himself, blah, blah, blah. And you go, jeez,
Yeah.
mid-20s, tall, good-looking guy. The world is his oyster. You're never going to make.
Often.
Yeah, you're sitting there going, and they turn after my usual condolences and things. Of what do you say? You know, it's like. So they said to me, "We need to do something. What can we do?" And why they asked me that, I'm not 100% sure because they didn't know me from any business perspective.
Sure.
But I said, "Look," I said, "Give me a week." So I went back and I started doing some research on it, and I found that Wales has a particularly high suicide rate, as you probably know,
Yes.
but Mid and West Wales has a higher suicide rate than the military. We lose 15.7 people per 100,000. The military loses 15. Welsh average 12.6.
Whoa, that.
And no one knows why. I've spoken to the Samaritans, Pavo, mental health, motorbike. I spoke to all these guys. Why are people killing themselves in Mid and West Wales?
Don't
No
know.
one knows. Is it rural? Yeah, but there are other rural places and they're not doing it there.
Absolutely.
What is it? And they don't know. So we turned around and said, it was one of life's interesting coincidences. I was doing some work for a motorbike club that I run with, and they were doing a bit of a promotion thing, and they asked me to do like basic SWOT analysis, again, as I mentioned earlier. So I had this literally on the right-hand side of my desk. I'd done that previously. And I started doing the research on the suicide stuff. Then I started reading the letters that people had left behind.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. I started reading through the letters and I started realising people, they were lacking joy, love, purpose, accountability, nothing really hard to figure out and stuff like this, like a form of brotherhood or anything like this. So I've written this down. Now I've looked across the right-hand side of my desk and I've gone, oh, actually, I might be a bit cleverer than I thought I was. And I put these things together and I thought, well, this thing is a lot of the answers that these people are looking for are actually what I've already written down here for the motorcycle club. And I thought if I could find a way of joining this together or one fulfilling the other, this might work out really well. So we created the charity, with me and another half a dozen people created the charity, fully CIO registered charity, did it 100% legit. And that's the only thing we take money from. The lottery fund gave us some cash, and we've rented an industrial unit up in Newtown. And the interesting thing is, this was the problem. So I went to the guys at the club and I said, this is what I've come up with, but you're part of the solution. What do you think? If I do a bike night, can you guys look after? I said, yeah, brilliant, we'll do that. If they bring bikes in, can you help them fix them? Yeah, fantastic, of course we will. Anything I asked for, these guys went, yeah, crack on, we'll do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're obviously fortunate, we're Christians, so we can, to a certain extent, let go and let God.
Yes.
However, sometimes God says, yeah, that's very interesting. I still need you to put your hand to the plough and crack on and do
This
some
is
work
something
here.
you've got to
You
do.
can't just sit back and go, God will sort it. Because God, well, actually, have you read this big book? Right? This is a very big book
You
here.
have to do something.
It's got some really interesting stories from some people that actually did stuff,
It's
you know,
true.
and they did stuff that wasn't necessarily liked at the time or understood at the time.
Yeah.
We've got a saying within the family, you have to wait 2 years to find out what God's doing.
Yeah.
That's why it's called faith. You crack out, you do what God tells you to do. And it's only when you look back, you go, oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm clever, aren't I? God goes, yeah. But that's what you do it for, you know? So,
do you think, obviously, because you're the Christian Party, it's a very blanketed name, Christian.
yeah, it's not the full name of the party. The full name is Christian Party Proclaiming Christ's Lordship.
Love it.
That's our full title.
Right. Now, you've got many denominations.
Yes.
And we all know that different denominations will believe that they are tribal in their own way.
Aren't they just? Hence you're back to the church thing again, aren't you? Yeah.
So how do you be able to be a party with policies that fits? Because there are some churches I've been banned from going because they don't believe that you should be political.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
They don't believe in the politics.
No, I know.
deal.
Well, they don't believe in birthdays either. But
No,
I
I
understand that. What we did a few years ago, we created the manifesto.
Sure.
And we play open hand poker, which is unusual in politics.
Yes.
You know, if you've been to our website, which is ukchristianparty.org,
Right.
our manifesto is on the website. You don't have to pay for it. You can print it off yourself, fill your boots, go for your life, read it. Now that manifesto it morphs because a manifesto is a living entity because life changes, the world changes.
That's it.
And even though we've just been through an update, I was talking to Sue on the way down and went, we actually have to update it again because things have changed within society now. We have to start addressing some of the things that we didn't think we needed to address 6 months ago.
Sure, yeah,
so it's a living
It's got to be flexible.
It has to be flexible and living, and it grows and it morphs to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But we have it there.
Okay.
And the interesting thing for us is that since it's been up there, we haven't been torpedoed, shot down in flames by any other political party or any other church group. Which is really interesting, because normally
Very unusual.
Yeah, you know. And this is the interesting thing when they come across me.
Yeah.
I'm not a usual, as I'm sure you're already fully aware, you're not a usual politician-y type person. No. I don't, truth be told, I don't want to be a politician.
No.
I don't want to be elected. Please, Lord, no. Because I've been there. It is.
It's dark.
It's a dark, dark place.
Yeah,
it really is. You know, it's not nice.
No.
We need to pray for our politicians on a daily basis because it
Absolutely.
is scummy.
All of them.
Yeah. Oh, really, seriously,
is,
we really do. You know, one of my greatest fears is actually being elected to this thing and having to go there because I didn't kill people. You know?
But didn't a fella, he committed suicide not long ago? That was an MS.
Yeah.
Which is just
Yeah,
tragic.
it's just crazy. You know, and again, you get stabbed in the back, stabbed in the chest, undermined, left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
The bureaucracy that runs around it, with the clerks, the civil service, and all that, is there to undermine anything they don't want to do as well.
Yeah.
You know.
So do you think that more Christians need to get into these positions?
This is the challenge, isn't it? You know, the reality is, yes, they do.
Yeah.
The challenge we have is Christians, as you know, are very nice, very good at playing. They're used to playing nice.
Yeah.
Gentle Jesus, meek and mild, love everybody, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's, everyone's my friend, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, can't show any passion.
No passion, no.
No guts.
No. And the first challenge you come up with is you'll go, I'm brilliant, this is brilliant, I'm going to stand for the Christian Party. We go, fantastic. I'm going to go to our local churches and ask them if I can have it. And I'm going, yes, feel free to try that. It won't work because the first thing they'll do is they'll freak, shut the door and kick you out.
It's true.
They won't do that.
No.
Which is absolute let's look at a church as a business.
Yeah.
Okay. The church is a business.
Yeah.
And we have groups, congregations, groups of people in, shall we call them offices or whatever, that congregate once a week. You have 150 here. We've got about the same number at our church. You've got a large number of people.
Yeah.
Do you realise the power? Well, look at Llandrindod, North Wales.
Yeah.
Llandrindod, North Wales, 5,000, maybe 5,500 people. 10% of that population go to church every week.
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah.
Which for Mid Wales is decent
Really
numbers.
good.
If 10% of that population wrote to the county council saying, we want you to do this, this, that, and the other, or their AM, or their MP, or whatever, the MP would turn around and say, this is a groundswell, I've got to get on this. And if it was suddenly happening in Newtown and Raider and Neath and Swansea, if the church came together, as in a non-tribal thing, and said, do you know what, we need to sort this out, this is nonsense, right? On Tuesday, there's the assisted suicide bill going through.
Yeah.
Yeah? How many churches are going to write to their AMs or their MPs or anybody else and say, we disagree with this? This is state-sponsored euthanasia. Are you mad? You know, the state is basically a death cult.
Yes.
Right? They want to kill you until point of birth.
Right.
Right?
It's true.
That's up to then and sometimes after.
Yeah, they're doing the policies right now for that.
Yeah, right. That's up to then.
Yeah.
Now they're trying when I turned up to create the Welsh Bikers Suicide Prevention, we had MPs that were kicking off against it because they told the town councils, do your due diligence on, because we were trying to get another place to rent, pay money for,
Sure.
Oh, make sure you do your due diligence and stuff because these guys are bikers and most of them are criminals and stuff. And I'm going,
oh my gosh.
Really? So they're trying to stop us stopping people killing themselves. And now they're going, so get you up to birth, then we're trying to stop killing yourself, and then we're going to try and get you to pop off early.
Yeah.
This is state-sponsored euthanasia, and I'm going, what else do you call it?
That's it. Oh my gosh.
It's mad.
It's sick.
It is. It is evil, twisted, and anyone that supports it is just lunatic. But that's the state of our nation, and that's the state of the world. Look at what's happening.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Now, again, I look at global politics as well, which is always quite interesting, and Europe is in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Financially, they are, after Brexit, we were for Brexit,
Yes.
100%. We always said, not afraid to be free,
Yeah.
leave me alone. And we said, get me out of this. Now, I'm still waiting for Brexit, to be fair.
It's still not.
I'm still waiting for it to turn up. Maybe
It's
2 or
so
3
true.
Brexits will turn up at once, like the buses, But
Yeah.
right now, we haven't had what we were promised.
Yes.
Or what we voted for. But no, we were pro-Brexit 100%. Of course we were,
Yeah.
But since we left, the financial burden then fell on Germany and France. They're crumbling.
They are.
Germany are shutting down factories, which is unheard of. Right? The car factories are shutting down. Audi, BMW are shutting down and relocating to China.
No.
Yep. Yeah, BASF, the chemical factory that make tapes and all this kind of good stuff, relocating China. Why are they relocating to China? You'll love this.
Why?
Energy costs.
No.
Yep.
Oh, don't know.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Seriously, 100%. We have the most expensive energy costs in the world. So they're going, I can't make this viable in Germany.
So we'll just take it over to
We're taking,
viable.
picking it all up, taking it to China, dropping it down using cheap coal-powered Chinese electricity.
While we have to live by the net zero, but it's still happening just over the other side of the world.
Yes. But this is the nonsense of it. But what we'll do, we're going to then ship the stuff on a diesel-powered boat, right, from China back to Germany and stuff. This is the insanity of it. If you made this up, if people wouldn't believe it, if you wrote this as a story, they'd say that's just delusion.
Mind you, they wouldn't have been able to pass this type of stuff even 20 years ago.
No.
People would have been like, this is ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of, I've done a podcast on it, Nobel Prize scientists that have said this is nonsense.
Oh, it's complete nonsense.
I mean?
From any business perspective, unless you're making money from the green agenda, we have some turbines. They've been there for 7 years now, just outside of Landod on the way up, Clandigley up that way. And I think there's about 8 or 10 of them, massive turbines on the hills. Fantastic, wonderful. Glorious. Have they turned a blade in anger? No. Why not? Because they're not connected to the grid.
They're not connected?
Nope. And they knew they wouldn't be connected when they built them. Because feel free. I mean, now they want to build some more, right?
But it's not connected.
It's not connected to the grid, but they stand there. And I used to go to work that way. I'd drive past it, and mentally you take a note of the positions of the blades. Sure, they were there yesterday. And I come back. Those blades aren't moving. They're the same. Not only are they not moving, they're always in the same position. So I'm looking at these things going. So I started asking questions. I went, no, they're not actually switched on. They just sit there. And I went, but the blades are a composite between plastic and carbon fibre.
Right, okay.
They have a 10-year lifespan. Guess what they do after 10 years? You'll love this.
They take them down and replace them, do they?
Yeah, but what they do with the old ones?
What?
You can't recycle them.
So what do they do?
Landfill.
No.
Yep. Last time I checked, about 3 years ago I checked, the last time they either bury them as they are, get them gone, or there are some companies that smash them to pieces and bury the bits. Happy days. This is the world we live in.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But I used to drive past them every single day. But this is the madness of it. So unless you're making money from the green agenda, which you can make money that way, the reality of further downstream where the rest of us live is madness.
It is.
So if you've got, Germany's never shut a car factory since the Second World War. Ever.
My gosh,
They've never shut a factory.
Wow.
We've deindustrialized ourselves as a nation. We can't, as you know, Paul Talbot, we can't make virgin steel anymore.
No.
So we can't make things like tanks or steel for pylons or anything else. We have to bring it in. We have to ship it in.
Right.
Which is, again, insanity, but that's just what it is. There needs to be a major reset to go back.
Where we manufacture
our own stuff. Do you know what I think the problem was? I was thinking about this the other day when you invited me onto your lovely podcast. I'm saying, when did it start to go wrong? there must have been a point. I'm tracking back, and it's a bit of a grey area. But I think, do you remember about 93, 94, the Maastricht Agreement? Do you remember that? I was at university at the time.
Right.
Maastricht Agreement came in, I think it was fully signed by about 97, but it came in earlier than that.
Right.
And the gist of it was European law prevails. That was the gist.
Wow.
Okay, so whatever Europe said, we had to do. So if they said night was day and day was night, then it was. So all our politicians that we still paid money for, basically didn't have to do anything from 97 till Brexit.
They were just dictated too.
Yeah, because they say, well, we agree with you, we'd like to do that, but unfortunately Europe says. Europe says, Europe says, Europe says. So for, 10 years? Because Brexit was what? There was 97.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, 97 was Maastricht. So I'm just thinking, but it's about 15 years.
Yeah.
Until Brexit hit 2016, somewhere around there. Then suddenly they had to start making decisions again, which they weren't used to and didn't like, because now suddenly they were the ones being responsible.
Sure.
And they've gone, oh, hang on, not happy about this.
Yeah.
What happened during that time, because that was the Blair-Brown years, tell me about it. God love Labour. One of the last things Gordon Brown did, he signed a new piece into law stating the Westminster couldn't fire the civil service. You can't get rid of them. You know they talk about the blob. And
this is where Liz Truss comes in later on. She
tries to get rid of it.
And
Boris Johnson tries to get rid of it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah?
Yeah.
And again, look what happens here. Who voted in Boris Johnson? The people.
Yes.
Who voted Boris Johnson out? The politicians. The MPs voted him out, right? The Conservative Party vote in Liz Truss.
Yeah.
Right? Who torpedoed her? The money markets.
It was.
Yeah, they torpedoed her. So then we got Richie Sunak.
Right.
Great. Right, who's the cardboard cutout person that was acceptable to all and drifted through. Yeah. And then after we get someone who's even more opaque and cardboard with Keir Starmer.
Which is even worse. Yeah.
But there's this more bureaucracy, more of that stuff that we know what we're doing, trust us, don't look what's happening over there.
Yes.
Look at the shiny thing.
It's so true. And it's happening across the board.
It is. It's happening across the board, across the nation and across Europe. Back to your point.
Yes.
If you could galvanise the churches under a banner of anything, and I would have thought not killing people was probably a pretty good banner you could rally under that banner.
Right.
I don't think you should kill people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think most churches could draw alongside that, and then turn around and say, fine, why don't we all, as a congregation, an independent letter that you craft yourself and you give to your MP or your AM and everybody else under the sun, we do not want this to go ahead.
Yes.
If they had that influx in their mailbox coming in, emails and everything else, it would stop it.
Right.
But the church won't do that.
No, they won't. Well, I went to, it's the first time I'm saying this on camera, but I was invited to a lecture that was done by a Christian professor.
All right.
And they were talking about the dangers of right-wing nationalism in the churches, right? And happened to put pictures of my friends on the screens. I was like, oh gosh. Yeah. And everybody just went with it. They were taken in because she was very articulate in how she was saying
very
it.
eloquent and things.
Yeah, and the church should be meek and mild. You shouldn't raise your head by the parapet. You shouldn't be passionate. All this type of stuff. And I thought, you know what? I've had enough of this. And I stood up and started in the Q&A bit. I was like, you're completely out of line.
Yeah.
You know, and it was shocking.
Yeah.
It was like I did something I need to be arrested for. And I think this
well
is the problem
Yeah.
with the Christian community right now, is that as soon as you say you're for politics and you want to have an honest, good debate,
ostracised. Yes, kicked out. Absolutely, 100%.
You are the bottom of society now, because you are now dabbling in things that Christians shouldn't be dabbling in.
Yep.
And then they'll moan then about the NHS, about immigration, but all the things that is political.
They're going to moan when they're going to get moan when they get shut down. You can't preach the word of God.
Come on.
In your church.
Exactly. You can't even pray now in your head on the streets.
No. Some houses you can't pray in Wales. Scotland.
Scotland, yeah.
That are close to an abortion clinic. You can't pray in your own front room.
It's ridiculous.
And the church goes, oh, no, nothing to see here.
Christians have to start mobilising, not just in prayer, but in action.
Of course they do. Absolutely.
And it starts with writing a letter.
It starts with writing letters. It starts with doing these things.
Amazing.
That engage with that.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it is, personally, I've found being on the outside is freeing. It really is. You know, we have a personal walk with the Lord Jesus Christ. I run things past my lovely lady wife, and I have other people I'm accountable to.
Yeah.
But they know that sometimes God asks me to do some weird and wonderful stuff, you know, and deal with some weird and wonderful people.
Yes.
And they roll with it. They go, fine, crack on.
Yeah.
You know, what time are you home for dinner?
That's it. Just go with it.
I feel I need to buy another motorbike. Yay.
Yeah.
But these things happen for reason, and that's where the exciting thing is.
Sure.
I've always said the 5 most exciting words you can pray, apart from personal Lord and Saviour thing. The 5 most important words for an exciting life.
Yeah.
Here I am, send me.
Send me. Yeah.
Do that.
Yes.
And then watch life fall apart. It'll go to hell.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun, but it'd be brilliant
I
fun.
know that more now than ever, having done this, but yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
but
it's
life
true.
gets exciting and
It does.
quick.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And then the nice thing about it is, what I reckon, is we'll have something to talk about in glory.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
I want the apostles to come up and go, was that you? Were you that lunatic that got to do that? Yeah. You know? It says, where angels fear to tread, they saw his boot prints.
Yes.
No, that was me.
Yeah,
we were watching and going, that was mad.
That's
You know,
true.
yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
You know?
Now let me finish on this note.
Okay.
Right? So obviously the Christian Party, you're a proper political party and I think it's fair to say you're not looking for position in the Senate right now as far as the voting for me, right? But you are a very real presence in the political system.
We'll be standing.
Yeah.
What we need to do is for people to turn around when maybe this time when they look at the ballot paper, they look at these things and go, things have got to change.
Yes.
Maybe things have got to turn around within the churches, within the Christian communities and stuff, within their own household, and say, I need to make a stand on this because it's going to hell in a handbasket quick.
Yeah, it is.
You know, on any level, on any sort of matrix you look at, it's not working.
No.
Nothing is working.
No.
Can you name, no you can't because I can't name one. Can you name an institution that's trusted? Politicians, obviously not.
No.
You know.
No.
Doctors, no. Estate agents, no. You know, lawyers and stuff, everybody done the civil service, no.
Church of England.
Church of England. Hospitals, do you trust hospitals anymore? No.
No.
You know, the church, do you trust the church?
No.
No, I really don't. You know, there's lots of them I don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I had a little revelation the other day. Sometimes you again, I've read the Bible a few times and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he got to this bit and it actually says, I try to remember what it was. It said, these people avoid these people. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I was just saying, and it said those that were appearing godly and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I suddenly had this little thing go on and went, now I know what he was talking about. The established, shall we call it the established church, you know, the people, maybe the ones that sit in the House of Lords or they sit in the, you know, the High Church of England or whatever, or the people that have this appearance of godliness but are as corrupt as hell. And I'm going, that's what he meant. You know, that's why I've never felt comfortable there.
Yeah.
Because the Spirit's sitting there going, I don't want to be here. Can we go and get a coffee somewhere? Getting coffee is one of my saving graces, to be fair. That and lunch. You know, so I go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm not happy here. Can we leave now?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
but yeah, you're right. I can't think of an institution, including the church, that's trusted by society.
No.
I can't think of an institution that I trust.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And you know,
sad.
and you sit there going, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is the world that we have, and this is the world our kids will be inheriting, but it'll be worse by then unless we do something.
Right, and this is where there are a lot of small parties at the minute that are running for a seat.
True.
You've got Heritage Party, Gwlad, all up and coming new parties.
Yeah.
I see the Christian Party as one of those coming up. But the very real thing is, it is a run between Plaid and Reform.
Almost
That's just
certainly,
different,
yes.
right?
That's the truth of it, yeah.
Where would you lie?
Where would I lie?
Yeah.
If it was a 50-50 gun to the head, I'd vote Reform.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a separatist.
No.
I'm a businessman. I
Yes.
like business principles. I like things that make sense.
Yeah.
I'd never liked the idea. Nationalism is fun.
Yeah.
It's best on the rugby field
Yes.
Or in a boxing
It
ring.
has its place.
It has its place.
Yeah,
of course it does. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I until very, very recently, the turn of the year, I boxed at a Welsh boxing club.
Yeah.
So I'm cheering on Welsh boxers
Yeah.
against English boxers.
Absolutely.
And because they're my brothers, you know,
Yeah.
I've bled, you know, real blood
Yeah.
with these guys. They are my brothers. Of course I'm cheering on for them against the English, but that's that. But the challenge we have now is the country's in trouble.
Yeah.
The people need to go and engage with their local communities. If that was a message I was going to leave on,
Yeah.
right, because I'm having far too much fun here.
Yeah,
Do we do a part 2?
We'll have to have you back.
If that was a case of saying, well, okay, this election's coming.
Yeah.
We will be standing, but where and when, I couldn't honestly tell. Out of my heart, I don't know.
It's a long-term plan.
It is.
isn't
It's a long-term
Yeah,
plan.
yeah.
Of course it is. This is what God has on for us.
Sure.
But what we are here to do and to let people know is there is a situation where if they feel that call for their own community,
Yeah.
they turn around and say, do you know what? The Senate and everything else, that is too far for right now. But I've got a parish council, a community council, a town council,
Yeah.
county council. We've got issues. Let me address that.
Right.
Let me go and do that, which is perfect. Give us a call, send
Sure.
us an email, we'll have a chat,
Yeah.
right? You tell us, like we spoke to the guy in England, what are the 5 most pressing points impacting your town right here, right now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if we can help engage with that, you can engage. And then suddenly you're knocking on people's doors and stuff, and people are opening up to you about other aspects of their life, not just the fact you want to put boats on the boating lake or get a skate park built for the kids or
Yeah.
do whatever.
So it's
you know?
less about a job and more about a conviction of a role
Yeah.
to see your community
If you want to
changed.
change your community,
Yeah.
it's a very good way of doing it.
Okay.
It helps if you have friends,
Yeah.
right? Democracy. Okay.
You do need to have friends.
You do, but you need to have friends within the council,
Council, yeah.
because not only do you have to have a proposition seconded,
Yes.
otherwise it won't go to vote. Democracy is a funny beast,
Yeah.
right? My friend has a sign on the wall. It said, democracy where one genius can be outvoted by 2 idiots.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
and he was a judge, right? Hey, Jim. So, and that's the truth of it. So
Yeah.
you have to play this game of
Yeah.
turning around and saying, I want to get this through,
Yeah.
but most deals are done outside in the car park.
Right.
That's the nasty part about it.
Yeah.
You don't like it. It shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Is, yeah.
You know, so you turn around and say, look, will you help me on this if I help you on that? And as long as that doesn't compromise your principles,
Then
crack on.
fine. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Well, what
you
we'll
know?
do, we'll put your details for
Yeah,
the Christian
feel free.
Party and people can contact you if... 'cause
Go
I
to the
think-
website, do that. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I think what you guys stand for is phenomenal and you've done my sport. I think it's wonderful. But
We have
thanks
fun.
for coming on the
Hey,
podcast, Jeff.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
And we'll have him down again soon because
We'll talk about something else. It's all
we can,
good.
we can like
We could
talk for hours. I know we can.
Well, we'll come back after the election and we'll talk about what
Yes.
happened after the election and where we can go
Definitely.
from there. That'd be good fun.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we are. It's a date. Me
Yes.
and Jeff are going to do another podcast episode and it'll be just after the elections.
Part 2. Oh,
Part 2. I love it. Thanks, Jeff.
absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.